Empathy is often romanticized, a tender gift of feeling others' emotions, a virtue wrapped in spiritual idealism. But beneath the surface of popular understanding lies a deeper, more complex reality. The empath is not merely a sensitive soul, but a psychic conduit. They absorb the shadows, traumas, and unresolved pain of others, often unconsciously. To truly understand the empath is to peel back the layers of sentimentality and engage with the archetypal, ancient truths buried within the soul's fabric, the unconscious vessel. Unlike the common image of the empath as a compassionate helper, the true empath functions as a lightning rod for collective pain. They don't just feel, they transmute. Yet without awareness, this transmutation becomes a silent consumption, devouring the empath from within. They become haunted by voices not their own, suffering with no origin they can identify, overwhelmed by grief, rage, or despair they never consciously invited. In dreams and myths, the empath is portrayed as blind to their own boundaries, as vessels overflowing with the pain of others. Possession by shadow. Empathy, when unconscious, invites possession. The shadows people disown, repressed rage, ancestral trauma, unexpressed sorrow, find refuge in the unguarded empath. Most tragically, empaths believe they are simply helping, unaware that they are being animated by archetypes such as the savior, martyr, or wounded healer. In this unconscious fusion, love becomes obligation, compassion becomes codependency, and care turns into control. The empath begins to lose themselves in the act of carrying what was never theirs to hold. The path of discernment. To awaken as an empath is not to close the heart, but to refine it. The spiritual initiation of the empath begins with separation, not from love, but from fusion. True empathy is not absorption, but presence. It says, I see you, but I do not become you. Boundaries become sacred tools, not defenses, but membranes through which true connection flows. In this path, the empath stops bleeding for others and starts anchoring in themselves. Ancestral and archetypal ties. Many empaths are unconsciously carrying generational pain, gifts passed down as burdens. A woman weeping for a lineage of silenced women, or a man overwhelmed by crowds because his ancestors were persecuted for their sensitivity. These stories live in dreams and bodies, in recurring images of haunted caves, bottomless wells, and crying children. The unconscious calls not for sacrifice, but for integration. The empath must name the ghosts they carry, bless them, and return them to rest. Individuation, the alchemical threshold. The true transformation comes when the empath turns inward. This is the alchemical fire, facing their own shadows, not just those of others. The empath must ask, who was I before I learned to survive by feeling for others? What part of me merges out of fear of abandonment? This descent into one's own psyche, into anger, grief, shame, is not indulgent but necessary. Only then does the empath rise, not as a martyr but as an initiated soul, carrying not pain but wisdom. Beyond the savior complex, even in empowerment, a new danger arises, the magician archetype. The empath who has gained insight risks turning empathy into manipulation, mistaking wisdom for superiority. True mastery is not control, but humility. The conscious empath does not rush to fix, does not scan rooms for suffering to absorb. They walk with presence, anchored in self, able to witness without drowning, to love without losing. Relationships and sovereignty. In love, the unconscious empath is drawn to chaos, to partners who reflect their own unmet needs. But as they awaken, their longing shifts. They seek truth, not trauma. They choose solitude over self-erasure, silence over compulsive saving. Relationships become sacred mirrors, not of pain, but of potential. Empathy as alchemy. In the end, empathy is not martyrdom. It is alchemy. It is not the absorption of suffering, but the recognition of it, the transformation of feeling into meaning. The conscious empath becomes a mirror, not reflecting wounds, but revealing the soul beneath them. Their presence is not a sanctuary for ghosts, but a light that reminds others of their own integrity. This journey is not easy. It demands courage, dissent, and relentless honesty. But for those who undertake it, empathy becomes not a curse, but a calling. They no longer carry the world's pain to prove their worth. Instead, they carry themselves with such clarity and compassion that the world is reminded how to carry itself.